Heat drowning in injuries, LeBron and AD competing for Finals MVP. Is it time to panic on the Heat, or can Bam, Hero, and Jimmy Butler pull out the first ever championship win from a 5 seed? Can LeBron finally establish himself as a GOAT, or does Jimmy Butler prove he can be the number one option on a championship team? Stick around, hit the subscribe button, and welcome back to Between the Zones.
Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be talking about the NBA Finals, Game 1, Lakers versus Heat, and we're just going to give our initial thoughts and just talk about it. So first off, 116-98, Lakers took Game 1. If you want to give our initial thoughts, Grayson, you want to start?
Yeah, so my initial thoughts, of course, for anybody that watched the game, you already know, but for anybody that didn't, the Heat suffered a lot of injuries early on, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. And that was kind of the story of the game. But in my opinion, the Lakers just looked pretty dominant after the first quarter, and were playing team ball, and they got contributions from people that weren't just LeBron and Anthony Davis, and this team looks like, in my opinion, the championship team. I believe, we'll talk more later, but I believe the Lakers have what it takes and will win this championship, and this was a great game for them to start off on.
Yeah, without talking about it too much now, the Lakers actually, I think they were playing some good old bully ball, just being that dominant force against the Heat. And, you know, it hurts them that the Heat shooters did not show up that game. It was pitiful. But we're going to send over to Nara right now to see a little box score summary.
So yeah, like they were saying, the game was riddled with injuries, and they didn't quite show up from beyond the three-point arc. Duncan Robinson, one of their key three-point shooters, shot 0 for 3 and 0 total points for the game off 27 minutes. Bam Adebayo shot 2 for 8 from the field, and like we talked about, he ended up going out as the second quarter. Butler had a great game. Jay Crowder shot 4 for 7 from 3, but then on the Lakers end, we start talking about that. That's where you talk about dominance. Anthony Davis shooting 11 for 21 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and 10 for 10 from the free throw line to get 34 points. LeBron had a great game just behind AD. Everybody put up a good game, and the same thing cannot be said for the Heat.
Yeah, thanks Noah for that.
Yeah, thank you for that.
So as you heard, the stats, you guys might get a little bored, but it is important to see. Like, Anthony Davis had a great game. And you really just didn't get the contribution you wanted out of those Heat secondary players. They're not a team that has the star. They don't have an Anthony Davis. They don't have a LeBron James. Jimmy Butler and Bam have been great, but they're not to that caliber, in my opinion. They've thrived over team ball, and they haven't received that in this series, in this first game. They did not get it out of Hero. They didn't get it out of Nunn. They didn't get it out of Dragic because he went home, or he got hurt. And they didn't get it out of Robinson. And it was just really tough to see that for the Heat. I think there could still be a chance if they can get some of these guys to turn around, if they get Bam Adebayo back, but I think this was a great step for LA, and I could easily see them just rolling with momentum here.
Like you said, the momentum is the biggest thing for me. Like, the Heat did not play with a lot of enthusiasm last game. At the start, we were seeing like a little bit, and then towards the end, plagued by injuries, and it just keeps going down. But like you were saying, the Heat I feel like they don't have that one guy besides Jimmy that they can just pass the ball to, and he's gonna do 40 points. He's gonna put up these big numbers. They rely on that team ball, like you said, and with a lot of them going out, it sucks to see, man. But LeBron and AD going off. LeBron almost dropped a triple double. Forgot to mention that. Yeah, really good performance out of them, and we'll have to see what Game 2 holds for us.
Yeah. So I think we should go ahead and segue into our next little part, which is similar. It's just specifically LeBron and Anthony Davis, and who had a better game. Because a subplot line of this is, can LeBron win his 5th championship and get another Finals MVP? In my opinion, this is a big step for him if he's able to do this in a lot of conversations. But Anthony Davis showed up just as much. We can send it over to Nar if he could just cover that LeBron near triple-double. Yeah.
So for the full stat line for both players, like I said, great shooting from Anthony Davis and LeBron. Total rebounds for Anthony Davis is 9, for LeBron 13. Assists 5 for Anthony Davis, 9 for LeBron. And that was where they needed the triple-double on LeBron's part.
Yeah, and so a big thing, like you said, is the stats, but I think AD just proving himself that he can be that guy. I mean, you look back at his playoff history, and it's like he hasn't made it out of the second round. We're in the finals now. He's showing that he can be a dominant figure. And I mean, I like to see this out of them. But personally, I'm rooting for this Heat team. I mean, we'll get into discussion later. But if we want to move on to our next thing, we have Dragic and Bam getting injured. And actually, I don't think a lot of people mentioned this. Jimmy Butler actually played through an ankle sprain, I think it was, through the second quarter, which, he led the team in points, but I'm sure that kind of hurt his game if you want to talk about it.
Yeah. So Jimmy, he's just the kind of guy, he's not going to back down. And I think even though he was facing an injury, I don't know if that affected his game a ton because he's not one to have problems with that. He is going to play the same because everything is for basketball. I think the biggest thing here is, and we were talking about this just before the podcast, Bam Adebayo did go out, and Anthony Davis is a monster, and Bam Adebayo will not stop Anthony Davis even when he's in. Anthony Davis is the kind of guy that will get his points. But Bam is definitely the Heat's best chance at that. He is a force inside, as we saw. He's a great defensive player. He had that block on Tatum last series, and he's very important to this team. Personally, I don't believe that even with Bam, the Heat would win this series. I'd love to see it. I would like to see the Heat win because it's fun, and they're an underdog, and they're an energetic, swaggy team, and it's cool to see. And I'm not trying to hate or say that they didn't have a chance. I just believe that playing up against Anthony Davis and LeBron, these are just two of the top 5 players in the league. These injuries hurt. Hopefully they can get them back and make a run on a couple of games. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that Bam thing a little bit later. But I think also defensively, you saw Crowder in that first quarter kind of being a little pest, almost like Pat Bev. But it just doesn't work. LeBron and AD just were a little too intense for them, and it got out of hand. Their defensive strategy did not work in that game, and they needed to figure out something quick. Without Bam, questionably without Bam, it's going to be a stretch for them, man. Yeah. But yeah, we can wrap into our next discussion.
All right.
That'll be Hero, Nunn, and Duncan not performing.
Yeah.
So obviously the best shooters on the team, Duncan and Hero. Well, Duncan's the best shooter on the team, I would say.
Yeah.
And Jimmy's included in that too. He didn't have a bad game, but anyway, Tyler Hero looking like an actual rookie this game. I mean, he's always been that swagged out player. You think he's also like a really good player. Like he's been in the league for years. Like he's good. Just not showing that in this game. Like you can elaborate on that.
Yeah. So what we saw last series is Tyler Hero became an anomaly and played like he was a seasoned veteran and went out there and hit shots for the entire series. He was a shooter. This series, we're seeing a rookie. We're seeing a guy who was drafted 14th overall and is playing in his first finals championship game. And that is 100% understandable, and I think he's completely exceeded expectations. Along with Duncan Robinson, this is the first time he's gotten real playing time on a team in his career. And Kendrick Nunn, who's a rookie. These guys, in our minds right now, because of such recency bias, are believed to be great players, which they are, and they can be. But it's because they've played so well in these lower intensity situations, and I just believe this game got to them. Duncan struggled a little bit. We can hopefully see him turn around, because as we mentioned a couple podcasts ago, this is the first time I've seen the guy miss in the playoffs. I mean, he's been nothing but lights out. And same thing with Hero. He has been a monster and has been shooting lights out. And I'd like to see them get incorporated. I think they, truthfully, not to diss on Bam, but their commitment and ability to like show up could be more important than like Bam's injury, because that's how the Heat run their team. It's team basketball, and I hope they're able to show up for next game.
Yeah, the 3 ball is really important for them. And also, I think we'll mention this a little later. They're a 5 seed. A 5 seed never really won the finals. And it could just be like a first game jitters, They're a little nervous. I mean, you kind of underestimate that when, they're playing in front of all these, well, not now, but
yeah.
You guys know with all the situations going on. But, it's the finals. It's win or go home, and you want that title. So, yeah.
They've been under so much pressure throughout really the entire playoffs. Exactly. I mean, round 1, they faced Indiana, which was by far their easiest series. An injured, suffering Indiana team. But since then, they've played nothing but but top tier championship competitors. They beat the Bucks, which is a huge win for them. They went and beat the Celtics, and now they're competing against LeBron and Anthony Davis. This team has been under pressure the entire time, and I think it might start getting to them a little bit, but I would not be surprised to see next game them come out. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see them just really catch momentum in next game and start shooting really well, because these guys now have that game under their belt. The stress is slightly taken off because they're in the position they need to be. More pressure. They've thrived under pressure, played great. They're down one game. Time to turn it around. I'd like to see these guys show up. They're really fun to watch. I mean, they are the definition of Heat culture.
Yeah, I agree with you. If we want to move into this next discussion, I'm going to open it up a little bit. Connor, you can pitch in whenever you want. It's going to be a little bit more opinion-based, but we're going to talk about Bam and how impactful is he really to this Heat roster? If you want to lead us off with your argument, Grayson, because you're the odd man out. We were talking about this before the podcast. He is the odd man out. You know, he has his opinion. I'll respect his opinion, okay? Let's just start it off.
Don't let Will say that, okay?
Yes,
He did not respect my opinion earlier.
Yeah, I didn't, but now
Will was shaking on the couch.
I'm trying to do a little show off for the podcast. I'm
All
not
right.
going to be aggressive.
So my opinion on the situation is, I think Bam Adebayo is a very impactful player. As Connor was trying to quote repeatedly before, he is a game changer. He can win games for them. I don't believe his presence impacts the series enough, with him being there or not, to have them win. I believe Anthony Davis, even with Bam there, will get his points. Anthony Davis will get rebounds. He will put up 20 points a game. He will help spread the floor. He will open up spacing and stretch out that Heat defense and allow for Rondo to thrive, for KCP to shoot better like we saw last night, for LeBron to have space to drive in and facilitate that offense. I think Bam is helpful. I think he is, as we saw last series, the best player on this team if he needs to be. I just don't believe him being out really changes it. Before he was injured, I believe this series probably gives to 6 games. We'll talk about that at the end. I just think Anthony Davis and LeBron, there isn't an answer for them.
There's not an answer, Grayson, but there's something that helps, and it's Bam Adebayo.
It helps. They just won't win.
You think they won't win? With Bam Adebayo guarding AD.
Do you think going into the playoffs, the Heat stood a 0% chance of winning?
I think they
going into the finals
stood a chance.
And now without Bam Adebayo, what has that chance gone to?
8.
You think it's only a 2%?
You think he makes a 2% difference?
That's 20% of their percentage.
Let him rebound. Let him assist. Let him block. Last series, okay?
Last series.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Which proves he can be a good player.
They were playing the Celtics, whose starting center is Daniel Tice. I'd like to point that out. He was playing no offense to Tice. He played well. He played his job. He is nowhere near the skill and ability of Anthony Davis. It is a completely different matchup.
It is a completely different matchup, but it's still like having Bam Adebayo helps them out.
Yeah.
He's a really good defensive player.
He does help them. He just doesn't win the games.
Like we were talking about earlier, taking care of Giannis, but that was more of a team effort.
He doesn't win the games, Grayson. He did a block. He did the thing. He did a ting. He blocked him.
He did get the block.
He blocked Tatum.
He did get the block.
That was a clutch play.
But did he score all the other points in that game? No.
Well, AD scored all the other points in this game.
He didn't.
I think you're underestimating him as a defensive presence on a Heat team that isn't that good at defense.
I think Bam Adebayo is more than 2% difference on your team.
Yeah,
especially
I can agree with that.
For who's gonna be
it's not 2% because it's 20%.
Okay, well, he went from
because out of 10, he is 20% of them, which I would like to point out, that's a fifth of their team. I believe, and that's counting, they have, in my opinion, the best bench in the league, too. To say that he is 20% of a team's skill, I would say LeBron for the Lakers is only about 30% of that team. So
debatable, yeah.
With Anthony Davis, I would say even like Giannis, who is probably the most weighted towards his team, pushes 40%, if that. And that is a great large number. That is almost half the team's productivity. I think Bam is very impactful. I don't think he changes the outcome of this series.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, Grayson. But more importantly, I want to hear your opinions in the comment section. Though we're half and half. As you can see, I'm getting a little riled up right now. Someone gonna have to hold me back. But I want to see your opinions. We'll respond to them. We'll leave our names next to the responses so people can differentiate. The fuck?
Just keep going. Da Vinci
can differentiate between who's talking to who. Okay, but yeah, we want to hear your opinions on this because I think it's a good discussion. Honestly.
Yeah,
it doesn't go either way. I think I'm right.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it's a good discussion for the first 10 seconds.
But Grayson doesn't sound like a complete maniac. Like, he has some sense in what he's saying.
I'd like to point out 2 more things real quick. First of all, I'm a huge Kentucky fan. I love Bam Adebayo as a player. I think he's great. I think this was a great year for him, and I think in 3 to 5 years he can establish himself.
AD goes to Kentucky too.
Yeah, exactly. You like AD more as a player.
I do like AD more as a player.
So it's a little bit of bias in there.
He's also one of the top 5 players in the league.
Yeah, we're gonna rail it off.
I think this in 3 to 5 years, Bam does become potentially a top 5 center. Maybe better than Cat if Cat can't learn how to play defense. Will, because at least Bam can do that.
Wow. That hurts.
And another thing is, Connor referenced that Bam was able to play defense on Giannis, and the big difference there is Giannis is 40% of that Bucks team. He is that Bucks team. AD is not the only player on the Lakers team that produces.
But containing one of the best players on the Lakers team is still going to help just a little bit.
He doesn't contain him though.
Not completely. I didn't say completely contain.
It was more of a team defense thing. I think playing against Giannis, but I think it is still to be said that he did play good one-on-one defense.
He did play good one-on-one defense, but I believe Bam's impact takes AD from being 34 points a night to 20 points a night, and I think that switch pushes LeBron from 20 whatever points a night to 30 something points a night, because one of them will fill the gap.
Yeah.
It's just how it works.
Well, yeah, but I think that, I guess that's true. But I think there's more defensive talent in Miami. Like, Jimmy Butler is not a bad defender.
He's not.
I think
he's
another great defender.
Yeah.
And I think likely
Crowder.
the matchup is going to be
Crowder.
Yeah, likely the matchup is going to be Butler on LeBron.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's really going to be giving up. Well, I guess if he's focusing more on AD, he's definitely going to be giving up looks on LeBron.
Yeah.
But
And
I think, like you were talking about earlier, that 3-point game. I think if they do give that, I'm talking about the 3-point game for the Lakers. If they do start to focus AD more, you might see people like Caldwell Pope and Caruso and Danny Green shooting these threes.
Pope was really able to shine because the Heat had to focus more on AD, but that was while Bam was in the game too. Mm-hmm. So even with Bam's assistance, AD helped open up the floor, and that is a difference here. And I just think that Bam is great, but he still doesn't change the fact that you're facing 2 guys that should have been MVP candidates. And that's just my opinion.
Drop your opinions down below. We will read every one of them. We really want to hear what you guys have to say on this, because obviously we're bickering a little bit.
We get excited when you guys comment, so please just give it to us. We need it.
Yeah. So we're going to longer in the video. We're going to have to wrap up with the finals predictions for all of us. Let's do this real quick and a little explanation. Lakers in 7. No, I'm just saying. I'm going to say Heat in 7. If Bam comes back, the injuries, I like this Heat roster. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. What if Bam doesn't come back?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Lakers in 5.
No. Yeah. So if Bam doesn't come back, Lakers in 5 or 6. But if he comes back and they get the momentum, Heat in 7.
So you believe Bam's impact?
We're on finals predictions.
Wins
My
them.
thing right says Bam discussion, says finals predictions.
Yeah, but this is still very important. You believe Bam wins them 3 games? Technically 4, because you're taking a game away from the Lakers.
It's like me and Will were talking earlier. It's not that Bam wins them 3 games. It's that Bam wins them 1. And like you're saying, they play team ball, which in a large aspect is mental.
It's like a train.
And like Damian Lillard talks about, it's all getting over that mental rock. Once you see one shot go in, they're all going to start falling.
Can't the Lakers do that, though?
I mean, yeah, that's true, but they're not as dedicated team ball. But they will be likely if they target AD.
I mean, in the last 2 series, the Lakers have only lost 2 games, same as the Heat. So I think they've proved just as much that they can roll with the ball and they can take momentum.
Yeah. I definitely think he has the better roster in depth. That's a hot take, probably, but yes.
Can we talk about that a little bit before we wrap it up?
I think better roster is a stretch, but depth, I think.
I didn't mean to say roster.
I think depth. Okay. I think depth is a great word. I think they have a better bench. They do not have a better.
I meant roster like around their stars.
Okay.
Supporting cast.
Supporting cast,
okay.
exactly.
We're all good at that. But yeah, so
KCP the GOAT.
KCP,
Caldwell Pope.
he is the GOAT, guys. I mean, he was shooting well last night.
AC Fresh.
So what do you think? What do you think? Final predictions.
My finals prediction is going to be, I do believe Bam can win them a game. So if Bam comes back, Lakers in 6. Maybe 7 if the Heat get lucky. If Bam isn't there, it's Lakers in 5 or 6. I'm going to go Lakers in 6 overall.
Okay. The
Are
fact
you
that
hurt
you
by that?
the fact that we have to think Bam with, Bam that without.
Yeah, he can win them a game.
Which means
he can't win them
he
a
does
series.
make a difference, which
He can
proves
win
our argument even more.
We talked about this before we started, Will.
What?
I said he can win them a game.
Yeah.
I did not say he can win them a series. Notice how I
argument.
still have the Lakers winning.
Okay. Go, Connor.
So I think the realist in me, wants to say the Lakers. And I love LeBron. I want to see him.
The realist, so the
realist.
The smart.
If Bam is out.
If Bam's in.
If Bam's in, it could go either way.
Stop
It's
the cap.
It's
You
not
know.
like it's 50-50.
Stop the cap.
It's not like it's 50-50, but it's like that part of me that wants to see, because I love Jimmy Butler. I've loved Jimmy Butler since he was in Chicago.
I do too. I think he's a
That part
great,
of me
funny
makes
guy.
up for like that other 30%
That dude
that
is
thinks the
asparagus.
Lakers is gonna win. Because I want to see him win. I love all these players, but
So what's your prediction?
so probably if Bam's not back, Lakers in 6. If Bam's back, I guess I'm gonna say, just for the Heat fans, Heat in 7. But realistically, I'm gonna say Lakers in 7.
You're saying Lakers in 7
Yeah.
is your realistic pick.
Yes.
Because
3.
you have to think about if Dragic is out, we don't know whether or not he's gonna be out.
Yeah.
He's a big part of their team ball
He is.
and officiating that offense to get the shooters like Duncan and Tyler Rosen.
Right.
So your overall pick is Lakers in 7.
I'll go
Mine is
Lakers in
Lakers in 6, and yours is Heat in 7.
Yeah.
That's our picks. Hold us to it. We'll be back in a week or so when the finals are over.
I'm gonna be totally wrong. It's just I really like the Heat.
Yeah, you can like a team. You just have to be able to understand what the situation
I
looks
already
like.
said it.
If
So.
Will's right, we gotta do something.
But I don't
There's
want.
some type of
I was. Thanks for watching, guys. We kind of got off track just a little bit, but now we're gonna cut the video. Make sure you go in the comments. Just tell us your opinion. Also, tell us your final predictions. We want to hear those too. Go to the description. Linktree's there. Instagram, website, Twitter. Everything you need to know about us is right there. Go ahead and click that. Follow us. We love the fan interaction. We stress it every episode.
Yes, sir.
Want to say anything else?
All right. No, I think I'm good. Thank you guys for watching, and we are Between the Zones. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.